Look at the jacket.
Jensen, should we turn around? Should we
Turn around, please. Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
I am alumni of hkust.
Yes. Yes. Jensen, it's just so nice to have you here at hkust and in Hong Kong. Let me just say, can we just please show how much we love Jensen? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you too.
Jensen, I have been preparing for this moment. I thought it's definitely a highlight of my hkust career for sure. I just couldn't sleep last night for one very important reason, because I am going to introduce you as the #1 CEO in this universe, maybe entire universe, at least in this universe. But I was so worried. This company, Apple's stock was going up last night. And yours wasn't doing that particularly well. And I couldn't wait until the market was closed. And this morning I woke up, I asked my wife, I said, did NVIDIA hang on there? No kidding, because of we asked. So you are #1, Jensen. So we have less than an hour this afternoon. I'm just diving, Jensen, with some tough questions for you. So you have been leading this technology field, AI field, for a long period of time. Just for the sake of our audience, just tell us how you think about the AI, more specifically recently, artificial general intelligence, the impact AI is having and will have, for all the society and the industry.
First of all, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to spend time with you. Harry is one of the most consequential computer scientists of our time. And he's been a hero of mine and many others around the world for a very long time. And so it's a great pleasure to be here. Harry, as you know, the transformative, the groundbreaking capability happened when an artificial intelligence network can learn to understand data of all kinds. Of course, language and images and sequences of proteins and sequences of amino acids and sequences of chemicals. And all of a sudden, we now have computers that can understand the meaning of words and such. And because of generative AI, we can translate from one modality of information to another modality of information. For example, from text to images, from text to text, from protein to text, from text to protein, from text to chemicals. This universal, initially a universal function approximator, evolved into a universal language translator of every kind. And so the question then is, what can we do with that? And you see the number of startups around the world and a number of capabilities with the combination of all these different modalities and capabilities. And so I think the really amazing breakthrough is that we can now understand the meaning of information, incredibly difficult information. And so what does that mean to you if you are a digital biologist? So that you can understand the meaning of the data you're looking at, so that you could find a needle in a haystack. What does that mean if you are in the case of NVIDIA, a chip designer, system designer? What does that mean to you if you're in ag tech or climate science, or climate tech, or energy, looking for a new material? So this is really the groundbreaking thing, is that we now have the concept of a universal translator. You can understand
about the amazing impacts of AI on the society. I thought that what you said, really resonated with me, and to some extent even shocked me. So you kind of, took us back to the entire history of human being. You said, well, there's this agricultural revolution, so we actually manufacture more food. Then we have industrial revolution. We actually manufacture more iron steels. Then we have information technology. We actually have more information. Now in this intelligence, this era. So what you are doing at NVIDIA, what AI is doing is actually manufacturing intelligence. Can you elaborate a little bit more on why this thing is just so enormously important?
Yeah, when you look at what we've done together, Harry, and you were in the middle of all of this, uh, from the perspective of computer science, we've reinvented the whole stack, meaning the way we used to develop software, and when you think about computer science, you have to think about software development, how software is done. And so we used to code software with our hands. We imagine what the function it is that we would like to implement, whatever algorithm we like to implement, and we use our own creativity. We type it into the computer. Could be, I started with Fortran, and I learned Pascal, and then C and C++, and of course, each one of these languages allow us to express our thoughts into code, and that code runs great on CPUs. All of a sudden, now we use observed data, and we give this observed data to a computer, and we say, what is the function that you see inside this code? What are the patterns and relationships that you observe by studying all of the data that we presented to you? And instead of using coding, we now use machine learning. And the machine generates not software, it generates neural networks that are processed on GPUs. And so from coding to machine learning, from CPUs to GPUs, and because GPUs are so much more powerful, the type of software we can now develop is extraordinary. And what sits on top of it is artificial intelligence. That's what emerged. And so computer science has really been transformed pretty much at the description I just said. Now, the question is, what happens to our industry? Of course, we're all racing to use machine learning to go discover new AIs. And what is AI? And maybe that's, of course, one of the things about AI that you know very well is the automation of cognition, automation of problem solving. And problem solving could be distilled down to, if I could, some three basic ideas: that you observe and perceive the environment, understand it, reason about it, and then come up with a plan to interact with it, whatever you decide your goals are. And so perception, reasoning, and planning, the three fundamental steps of problem solving. Well, perception, reasoning, and planning could be broken down into, for example, perceiving the environment around your car, reasoning about the location that you are and the location of all the other cars around you, planning how to drive. So I just described self-driving cars. That self-driving car in one manifestation would be called a digital chauffeur. And then you could do the same thing with, you observe a CT scan, you understand it, you reason about everything that you see, and you come to the conclusion there might be some anomaly that might be a tumor or something, and then you might decide to highlight it and describe it to the radiologist. Now you're a digital radiologist. In almost everything that we do, you can come up with some expression that artificial intelligence could then perform a particular task. Well, what happens is if we have enough of those digital agents, and those digital agents are interacting with the computer that's generating these digital intelligence, the total consumption of all of us into a data center makes the data center look like it's producing this thing called tokens, or what we call tokens, but otherwise digital intelligence. And so now let me now describe it a little bit differently. 300 years ago, as you know, General Electric and Westinghouse came up with a new type of instrument. In the beginning, a new type of machine. It was called a dynamo, and eventually became an AC generator. And they were so smart to go and invent a consumption of the electricity that they were able to produce. And that consumption, of course, would be things like light bulbs and toasters and right. They created all kinds of digital appliances or electrical appliances that consumes the electricity that these plants would produce. Well, look at what we're doing now. We're creating copilots and ChatGPTs.
Intelligence.
We're creating all these different intelligence, basically light bulbs and toasters, and think of them as, right?
Yes.
They're appliances that all of us would use, but you would connect it to a factory. It used to be an AC power generation factory, but this new factory is digital intelligence factory. And so what is just from an industrial perspective, really what's happening here is we're now creating a new industry, and this new industry takes energy in and produces digital intelligence out. And that digital intelligence would be used by all kinds of different, different applications. And the consumption of it, we believe, is going to be quite large. And this entire industry never existed before, just like the AC generation industry never existed before that.
But that's really, truly amazing. Jensen, you are describing this really bright future for us. Of course, we know this thing is going to happen. Really much of that because of your effort, NVIDIA's contribution to the field, especially over the last 10 years, 12 years. So one number just keeps coming back, and people talking about in the name of scaling law and others. Most recently, in your name, there's something called the Huang's law. In comparison to Moore's law. Of course, earlier in computing industry, Intel came up with Moore's law, basically meaning every 18 months, computing power will increase, will double. And then now, if we look at last 10, 12 years, under your leadership, it's not even every year double, it's more than that. If we look at it from the consumption side, all those large language models over the last 12 years, every year it's actually more than 4 times increase of the computing needs. Now every year is 4 times. Then in 10 years, it's an enormous number. It's actually 1 million. So that's how, at least I explain to people why Jensen's stock went up 300x. In 10 years, if you think about it, the computing needs is 1 million times more. So then it explains the stock probably is not that expensive. My question for you then is, as you look into the future with your crystal ball, are we going to see that 1 million times more needs increase for the next 10 years?
So Moore's law depended on 2 concepts. One concept was VLSI scaling, and that was because of Carver-Mead. And the text by Mead and Conway really inspired my generation. The second is Dennard scaling. Constant current density scaling of transistors coupled with the shrinking of the transistors made it possible for us to double the performance, if you will, double the performance of semiconductors every couple of years. And so every 1.5 years, so that would be 10 times every 5 years, 100 times every 10 years. And what we're experiencing now is that the larger your neural network can become, and the more data that you train that neural network with, the more intelligent the AI seems to become. It's an empirical law, just like Moore's law was. We call that the scaling law, and the scaling law appears to be continuing. But the one thing that we also know about intelligence is that pre-training, just taking all of the data in the world and discovering knowledge from it automatically, pre-training is not enough. Just as going to college and graduating from college is a very important milestone, but it's not enough. There's post-training, which is learning a particular skill very deeply. And post-training requires reinforcement learning, human feedback, reinforcement learning, AI feedback, synthetic data generation, multi-path learning, reinforcement learning. There's a whole bunch of techniques, but basically you're now going deep into a particular domain and you're trying to learn something very, very deep about it. That's post-training. Once you select a particular career, you're going to do tons and tons of learning again. And then after that, of course, it's called thinking.
Yes.
And that's what we call test time scaling. Some things you just know the answer to. Some things you have to break the problem down into step by step, into its first principled elements, and from first principles, try to find a solution for each one of them. It might require you to iterate. It might require you to simulate various outcomes because the answer is not predictive, and so on and so forth. And so we call that thinking. And the longer you think, maybe the higher quality the answer would become. So notice we now have 3 areas of artificial intelligence development where a great deal of computation would result in higher quality answers. Today, the answers that we have are the best that we can provide. But we need to get to a point where the answer that you get is not the best that we can provide, and somewhat you still have to decide whether is this hallucinated or not hallucinated, does this make sense, is it sensible or not sensible? We have to get to a point where the answer that you get, you largely trust. You largely trust. And so I think that we're several years away from being able to do that. And in the meantime, we have to keep increasing our computation. Now, one of the things that you said earlier that I really appreciate is that in the last 10 years, we increased the performance by 1 million times. What have we really done? What NVIDIA has contributed is that we've taken the marginal cost of computing and we reduced it by 1 million times. Imagine if there's something in the world that you rely on. It could be electricity. It could be airline ticket. It could be anything you choose. We reduced it in the last 10 years by 1 million times. Well, when something happens, when the cost of something reduces by 1 million times, your habits fundamentally change.
Absolutely.
How you think about computing fundamentally changed. That is the single greatest contribution NVIDIA ever made. That we made it so that using a machine to go learn exhaustively an enormous amount of data is something that researchers wouldn't even think twice to do. That's why machine learning has taken off.
I totally see your point. Some of our professors here may slightly disagree because they still need a lot of money to buy your GPUs. But I come back to this point later.
Imagine 1 million times higher.
That's right. But Jensen,
I gave you 1 million times discount in the last 10 years. It's practically free.
Jensen,
太便宜了。
太便宜。I think we can learn so many different things from Jensen. We'll see how it goes. The next step, the 40 minutes. So Jensen, one thing I really want to pick up your brain and think about what we should do at hkust. It's really about the areas now with AI technology, AI infrastructure, your GPUs and everything, and your software ecosystem. Many things we can choose to do, and one particularly exciting thing now we call the AI for science. You have been championing that. For instance, we have been investing quite a bit of computing infrastructure, GPUs in our university. President Yi and I specifically encourage our faculties to collaborate between physics and the computer science, between material science and computer science, between biology and the computer science. And you have been talking a lot about the futures in biology. One very exciting thing right now happening in Hong Kong is that our government has decided that we are going to build the 3rd medical school. In fact, HKUST is the first university to submit our proposal. We would very much appreciate your advice now, especially our alum. No. Yeah. What would be your advice to President Ye, myself, and the university, where we should invest?
So first of all, I introduced artificial intelligence at the World's Scientific Computing Conference, Supercomputing, in 2018. And it was met with great skepticism. And the reason for that is because artificial intelligence is somewhat of a black box. It was a black box at the time. In fact, it's less of a black box today. It's much more, it's a black box today like you and I, we're black boxes. But you can ask an AI today, you couldn't do it then, but you can ask an AI today, reason with me. Tell me why did you suggest that? Tell me step by step how you arrive at that answer. Through that probing process, AI is more transparent today. AI is more explainable today. Because you're asking, you're probing through your questions, and that your set of questions could be like professors probe their students to understand their thinking process, not just the fact that you can produce an answer, but the way that you reason about that answer is sensible. It's grounded in first principles. And so we can do that today. In 2018, we could not. And so it was met with a great deal of skepticism because of that. That's number one. Number two, AI does not produce its answers, not yet, from first principles. It produces its answers from learning from observed data. And therefore, it's not really simulating first principle solvers, like first principle solvers, but it's emulating the intelligence. It's emulating the physics. Now, the question is emulation valuable to science? And I would suggest that emulation is invaluable to science. And the reason for that is in many fields of science, we understand the first principles. We understand Schrodinger's equations. We understand Maxwell's equations. We understand many of these equations, but we can't simulate it and understand large systems. And so instead of solving it from first principles and have it be computationally limited, computationally impossible, we could use AIs, we could train AIs that understand that physics and use it to emulate, if you will, very, very large systems so that we can understand large systems with large scale. Now, where is that useful? You know, first of all, the human biology has a scale that goes from nanometers, right, from nanometers to a time scale that goes from nanoseconds to years. That's the human biological system. Those kind of scale across that kind of time scale is simply impossible using principal solvers. And so now the question is, can we use AI to emulate the human biology so that we can better understand these very complicated multi-scale systems so that we could, you know, if you will, create a digital twin of human biology? And that's the great hope. The great hope is that we might now have the computer science technology so that digital biologists, climate scientists, scientists who are dealing with extraordinarily large, complicated scale problems can really understand your physical systems for the very first time. And so that's my hope, that you're able to do that at the intersection. Now, speaking of your hospital, one of the great opportunities for hkust is that a hospital is going to be created here where its original domain expertise is technology, computer science, and artificial intelligence. That's the reverse of almost every hospital in the world. It was started as a hospital, now trying to insert artificial intelligence and technology into it, which generally is met with skepticism, distrust of the technology. And so you have the opportunity for the very first time to create something from the ground up where the technology is embraced and technology could be advanced, and the people who are here are advancing the fundamental technology yourself. And so you understand its limitations and you understand its potential. And I think that that's an extraordinary opportunity. I hope you take advantage of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jensen. we definitely like, what you suggested, that the university has been always good at, technology and the innovation, pushing for the frontiers of the computer science, engineering, biology, and other things. So we thought that, with the third medical school in Hong Kong, we can do something differently from what the other two amazing schools have been doing. So we combine, more traditional medical training with the technology research side,
Yeah.
which we're good at. So
Yeah.
I'm sure, we will reach out to you to get more your advice in the future. But I want to switch gear a little bit.
The MIT of Asia starts a hospital.
All right. Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah. So Jensen, I switch gear a little bit and ask you something about the leadership. So you have been the longest running CEO in the Silicon Valley, probably by far. 31 years as a CEO?
Almost 32.
Almost 32. And you're not tired?
I'm super tired.
I think somewhere you said
I got here this morning. I'm super tired.
Yeah, you're super tired, but you still keep going. So we, of course, would love to learn from you that, how did you lead such a gigantic organization, NVIDIA of today, the tens of thousands employees, and it's amazing the revenue and the large number of customers, and you reach out. How did you really do that to lead such a large organization and this breaking neck pace?
Well, today, let me just say that today, I was so surprised that there were computational biologists and business.
Yes.
That was
our student degrees.
Yeah, they're students.
Yes.
Usually we see computational biologists go by, you shake their hand, and then you see some business majors, they go by, you shake their hand, and we saw some computational biologists with business majors.
That's right.
I think it's fantastic. I started NVIDIA without ever taking a business course, and to this day, I've never taken a business course.
And you also said that you never finished a business plan.
I've never written a business plan. I have no idea how to write a business plan. I'm counting on all of you to help me write business plans. And and the reason why I'm telling you that is, first of all, I think you want to learn as much as you can, and I'm learning all the time. So the first thing about doing anything that you want to dedicate your life to do, and I consider this my life's work. This isn't a job. This is my life's work. And the idea, the way of thinking about whatever you do as your life's work rather than your job, I think it is a very big difference in your mind. And maybe you're a carpenter, maybe you're an artist, maybe you're maybe you're a neurosurgeon. You consider it to be your life's work. This is what I'm going to dedicate my life to perfect the craft of. And so NVIDIA is my life's work. I learned a lot along the way. There are a lot of things that, and so I'm not going to spend any time talking about those things. You got lots to learn. If you want to be CEO of a company, you have lots to learn. You have to reinvent yourself constantly. The world is changing all the time. Your company is changing all the time. Technology is changing all the time. Everything that you know today will be useful someday, but it won't be enough, not even nearly enough. And so I spend basically every single day learning. As I was flying over here, I was watching YouTubes, or I was talking to my AI. By the way, get an AI as a tutor. Asking it lots of questions, and it tells me an answer, and I ask, why did you give me that answer? Tell me the answer step by step. Explain it to me in this way. Apply this reasoning to something else. Give me some analogies. Right? There's a lot of different ways to learn, and I use my AI and I torture my AI to teach me. And so there are a lot of ways to learn, but my point is you're constantly learning. What have I learned about being CEO and leadership? First of all, you're the CEO, you're the leader, but you don't have to know everything. You have to be confident about what you're doing, but you don't have to be certain. Confidence and certainty are not the same idea. It is possible for you to be completely confident in pursuing a direction and allow room for uncertainty. And that room for uncertainty gives you the opportunity to continue to learn.
So
That's number
profit
one.
from uncertainty.
That's right. Uncertainty is your friend, not your enemy. The second thing I would say is that a leader, of course, needs to be strong because a lot of people are counting on your strength. They feed off of your strength. However, the fact that you're strong doesn't mean you can't be vulnerable. Meaning that if you need help, ask for help. And so I'm constantly asking for help. I don't know how many times I've come to ask you for help. And so vulnerability is not the absence of strength. Uncertainty is not the absence of confidence. And so live in that world where you can be strong and confident, but still be vulnerable and uncertain. And so I think that that, and then one last idea is don't do it for yourself, do it for everyone else. Leaders are fundamentally trusted when every single decision that is made is in the interest of the mission. It's in interest of others. It's an interest of other people's success. And whether it's people inside the company, my colleagues, my partners, the ecosystem we serve, our supply chain, I'm constantly thinking about other people's success. I'm constantly thinking about what's in their best interest. And just last night, I was flying over here, and somebody asked me, "What should we do in this discussion with a very important partner?" And I said, "Well, what would you do? What would you suggest that is in their best interest?" And from their best interest, we could decide what to do. I think these ideas probably be helpful.
Yeah, on that point of working with other people, I can't help but asking this question that I asked in my house in May. I said, Jensen, I read somewhere that you actually have 50 direct reports.
Yeah.
And you said, no, Harry, I don't have 50, I have 60.
Yeah.
So you do have 60 direct reports.
Yeah.
And
a staff meeting for me would be like
staff meeting. I'm going to say the staff meeting was like
this
first the four rows of people here.
Yeah.
How did you do that? That seems like your unique leadership style.
Transparency. I reason in front of everybody what we need to do. We work together to come up with a strategy, whatever strategy it is. Everybody hears at the same time because they were hearing all of us work through the strategy at the same time. And so by the time that there's a direction for the company, a strategy for the company, a decision to make for the company, everybody reasoned about it together. It's not like I went into a forest and came back out with an answer and then everybody's waiting for me to tell them what to do. We reasoned about it. We got to the answer together. And so the only thing that I have to do is to make sure that we all heard the same thing. I'm usually the last person to talk, to describe, based on everything that we've done, this is the direction, and these are the priorities, and to make sure that if there's any ambiguity, I've taken out the ambiguity. Now, once we're all aligned and we all understand what the strategies are, I count on the fact that everybody's an adult. All of the things that I mentioned earlier about my behavior, constantly learning, confident but uncertain, and if they don't know something, I need them to express it. If they need help, I need them to ask us for it. Nobody loses alone. Nobody fails alone. And so, and then everybody else, when they see the same behavior, and they see that it's okay to be vulnerable as a CEO, that as a leader I can ask for help, I can be uncertain, I can be wrong. When they see us do that, then they all can do that. And that is all you expect them to do, is if they need help, say so. But otherwise, I've got 60 people on my staff. And they're the world's best in the world. They're the absolute best in the world. They don't need my help.
Well, all I can say is Jensen seems to be working. So, Jensen, I was very impressed this morning when you give your acceptance speech to your HKUST degree, you said quite a few numbers about our university, especially the number of startups we ever created by our alum students, and also how many unicorns this university has produced, and how many exits we had. This university is indeed known for creating new the entrepreneurs, companies, and but still, we have the master here today, you. And you created your own company when you were very young, and you led the company all the way to today's unbelievable success. So what is your advice to our students and the faculty members, when and why they should start their own thing? And besides, you did promise your wife, Lori, that by the age of 30, you will do a company. Besides that, what are the suggestions? Yeah.
That was my pickup line. I didn't mean it. I was 16 when I went to college, and when I met my wife, I was 17. She was 19, and so I was the youngest kid in school in class. There were 250 students and 3 girls. And I was the only student that looked like a child, and they were all children.
So you learned how to be competitive at that time.
No, you have to learn how to, have a good pickup line. And so I walked up to her and I said to her, I know I look like a child, and therefore I am certain that her first impression of me is that I'm pretty smart. It's got to be that, otherwise, And so I knew that her first impression of me would be that I'm smart. And so I walked up to her and I said, "Do you want to see my homework?" And then I made her a promise. I said, if you do homework with me every Sunday, I promise you will get straight A's. Okay? And as a result, I had a date every Sunday. And I made her do homework all day. I was with her the whole day. And then just to make sure that eventually she marries me, I told her that by the time I'm 30, I just wanted you to know I'm only 20 right now. But by the time I'm 30, I'm going to be a CEO. I have no idea what I was talking about. And then we got married.
Yeah.
And so I maybe that's all the advice I'm going to give all the entrepreneurs. That's it. Fine. Yeah.
Actually, Jensen, it's actually one of the students' questions I collected. It was the one student actually asked that is, so apparently the student said that he is good at the school and everything, but he needs to focus. But he read the story about your love stories. He thought he's going to ask you, would that be detrimental to his study here if he's wasting his time to date a girl? Your answer is absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Well, if you don't keep doing well, so she never saw it, but I wanted her to know that I'm smart. And so I did the homework before she showed up. So by the time that she showed up, I knew all the answers. And she must the whole time thought, for 4 years, Jensen's a genius.
You are, Jensen. You are a genius. Well, Jensen, now you give our students some good tips, and I need to ask a question.
That's the only life advice. I think the rest of that.
By the way, I actually have 9 pages of questions that I apologize. I cannot pick everyone's. And one, I really feel that I should ask on behalf of our.
Just reading the questions would take 45 minutes.
True. That's true. And I didn't use GPT, otherwise it would be easier. So the question is actually, so as an assistant professor in university, now doing AI requires a lot of computing power. We kind of alluded to that earlier. It's interestingly, there's this University of Washington professor tweeted a few years ago, something like that, noticeably missing in action in the deep learning revolution is MIT. But he really didn't mean just MIT. It's actually the top universities, even in the US, have not contributed too many seminal papers in the last decade. Rather, the companies, your company, Microsoft, OpenAI, Google, DeepMind, and those top companies have done amazing work, partly because they actually have enough computing power. So our professor's question is that, what should we do? Should we just join NVIDIA? That's one way. Or can we partner with NVIDIA? You are our new alum, and can you please help?
Yes, and yes, but you're highly at the core of your question is actually a very, very serious structural problem of universities. As you know, in the future, there is no way to advance science in the scale that we're talking about without machine learning. And machine learning is not possible without machines.
That's right.
It's no different than you're not going to study the universe without a radio telescope. You're not going to study the universe. You're not going to study the fabric of the building blocks of the world without some kind of a particle accelerator. You're not going to, right? You can't study these things. You need the instruments of science, and supercomputers, AI supercomputers, are the instrument of science today. The structural problem of universities is that each one of the private investigators, each one of the researchers, do their own funding.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, once they fundraise, they don't want to share it with anybody else. But yet, the way that machine learning works, you need that machine for some part of time, but you need all of it for a small part of time. Nobody needs all of it forever, but they need something gigantic for a little bit of time. And so it turns out that in order for universities to advance research, you have to pull together everybody's funding, which is very hard in a university like Stanford or Harvard, or where the researchers that are getting research funding for computer science can raise a lot of money and get very large funding, but somebody who is in climate science or in ocean science or so on and so forth is very difficult. And so now the question is what to do. I think this is where universities that can lead by building an infrastructure for the whole school to use can make a real difference. But that's the structural challenge of universities. It is the reason why so many researchers come intern at companies like ours and Google and Microsoft, as you know, and you do your research because we have access to infrastructure, and then you go back to school for a while and you ask us to keep your research alive in our systems so that you can pick up when you come back. Or many professors do, visiting professors do research part-time while they're still teaching. We have several of those. And so there's several ways to solve that problem, but the best way is somehow the universities have to rethink about how it does funding.
That's such a great advice, and especially today in the audience, we have Professor Sun Dong here, who runs our government's technology innovation and industry division, and who has been extremely supportive in coming up with funding to AI. In fact, Professor Sun actually supported this generative AI center in Hong Kong. It's called the Hong Kong Generative AI Center.
It's such a fundamental advantage.
Yeah. So, and we also have our deputy FS here, who also, can sign the checkbook, and I'm sure they can learn from you and listen to your advice. But I do
just remember the $1,000,000X discount.
But I do want to ask you one challenging question. That one hand, we're very, very happy that computing power continues to increase significantly, and the price is dropping, which is even better. But at the same time, your GPUs are going to consume so much energy, so much energy. And there's some prediction that by 2030, the world's energy consumption will increase by 30%. Are you worried? Are you worried that because of your GPUs, the world is actually using more energy?
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna work backwards, and the first thing I'm gonna work backwards from is I'm gonna make the statement that if the world uses more energy to power the AI factories of the world, we are a better world when that happens. Now, let me reason about a couple things for you. One, the goal of AI is not to train the model. The goal of AI is to use the model.
Mhm.
The goal for many of your goals, there's nothing wrong with going to school for the goal of only going to school. There's nothing wrong with that. Learning for the sake of learning it's a noble thing to do, and it's actually a very wise thing to do. However, most of the students came here, invested a lot of money, invested a lot of time, and your goal is to be successful later, to apply your knowledge. And so the goal of AI is not for training. The goal of AI is inference. And inference is incredibly efficient, and it can discover new ways to store carbon dioxide in reservoirs. Maybe it could discover new wind turbine designs. Maybe it could discover new materials for storing electricity. Maybe more effective materials for solar panels, to so on and so forth. And so that's our goal. The goal is to ultimately create the AI, not to train the AI. The second thing I would say is that, remember, AI doesn't care where it goes to school.
Mhm.
We don't have to put the supercomputers on campus where we're close to the power grid. What we ought to do is start thinking about placing the AI supercomputers off the grid, slightly off the grid, and let it use sustainable energy and not where population is. Remember, all of our power generation plants were created for the appliances we need to be close to our house. Light bulbs close to our house, your dishwashers close to our house, and now because of electric vehicles, the electric vehicles close to our house. But a supercomputer doesn't have to be close to our house. It could learn somewhere else. And then lastly, I hope that what happens is AI is able to be so efficient and so clever about discovering new science that the waste that we have, whether it's the waste of the power grid needs to be a lot smarter. The power grid is over provisioned for most of the time, is under provisioned for only some of the time. Most of the time is over provisioned. And so we should use AI in so many different areas to save energy, to take it out of the waste that we have. And hopefully it's replaced by, 20, 30% of what ultimately it saves. And that's my hopes and dreams, is that in the end, what we all see is that using energy for intelligence is the best use of energy we can imagine.
Well, I certainly agree that the use of energy for intelligence is the best way to use energy. And talking about the intelligence, I want to come back to the topic of intelligence. Jensen, as you know, the Great Bay Area, this region, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Dongguan, this area.
We both live in the Bay Area.
Yeah. So the over the years, has become really this the big hardware ecosystem, if I may say that way. If you build any interesting gadgets nowadays, if you don't build that in Great Bay Area, it's going to be less efficient because you just cannot simply find all those components. A great example, of course, is the company DJI, originally from here, the commercial drone company.
Yeah, incredible technology.
Incredible technology.
Yeah, incredible.
And so my question for you is actually, as we think about the intelligence, the physical side is going to become more and more important, the robotics. We will see, I assume, more and more robots. And of course, the special type of robots is actually called autonomous driving vehicles, autonomous driving cars. So what's your view? How quickly can we see those physical intelligence entities in our lives, at work lives? How should we even think about that and take advantage of this Great Bay Area hardware ecosystem?
This is just an extraordinary opportunity for China and for this area. and the reason for that is because the Great Bay Area and this whole region here is so good at megatronics already. The intersection between mechanical technology and electronics.
Yes.
What is missing, of course, for robotics is an AI that understands the physical world. ChatGPT or large language models today understands the cognitive knowledge and intelligence, but it doesn't understand physical intelligence. It doesn't understand necessarily that when I set the cup down, that it's not going to go through that table. And so we need to teach an AI how to understand physical intelligence. Well, let me demonstrate, in fact, that we're making good progress. Well, one of the demonstration that all of you have probably seen is you could generate, using generative AI, text to video.
Mm-hmm.
And I can surely generate a video that starts out with a picture of myself, and you prompt Jensen, pick up the coffee cup and take a sip. Well, if I can prompt the AI to go and pick up the coffee cup, why can't I then generate the tokens to cause a robotic arm to go pick it up? And so the gap, the leap from where we are with generative AI and general robotics is very, very close. And so I'm very excited about this area. There are 3 types of robots that can be manufactured in high volume, and pretty much only 3. All of the other types of robots that we've seen historically, robotics has been around for a long time, but it's very hard to scale into high volume. Scaling into high volume is important because you need the technology flywheel. The high volume allows you to generate high R&D, which allows you to make great technology breakthroughs, which makes better products, which causes the volume to be even higher. And so that flywheel, that R&D flywheel, is vital to any industry. There are only 3 robots you could really do this for, but 2 of them are going to be the highest volume. And the reason for that is these 3 robots can all be deployed into the world as it is today. We call it brownfield deployment. Well, the 3 are cars, because we created the world for cars over the course of the last 150 years. And the second, drones, because the sky is fairly unlimited. But the highest volume one, of course, is humanoid robots, and it's because we created the world for ourselves. And with these 3 type of robots, we can pretty much scale robotics into extremely high volume, and that's one of the advantages that a manufacturing ecosystem like this one, really has. And if you think about it for a second, this Great Bay Area, it is the only region in the world where megatronics technology and AI technology simultaneously reside. It is not true anywhere else. You pick the other 2 large megatronics industries regions, Japan and Germany. But unfortunately, they're quite far behind on AI. They really need to catch up. That's not true here. And so this is really quite a unique opportunity. Now we really lean into it.
Yeah, I so happy to hear your view about what's going to happen in physical intelligence and the robots. This university is actually good at those things you just described. I'm sure being Great Bay Area, we have the advantage to work with the different companies, even different city governments. Just a few days ago, I was talking to the mayor of Shenzhen and also with Dr. Zhang, who runs the technology bureau for the city. I was just so happy to see in the Great Bay Area, especially the city of Shenzhen, is actually a city that iterates hardware at the speed of iterating software.
Yeah.
That is really exactly to your point that why this is a great opportunity for this region, for our university. But
I don't know who the genius was that selected from. I was reading about the work that you guys do here, and the work that my school does. Since I'm an alum now. I can now take credit for all of your good decisions.
Absolutely.
But artificial intelligence, robotics, and healthcare.
Yeah. Well, we are
the perfect three areas to really innovate.
Yeah, with our new medical school, we push that even further. And so the Jensen, but still, for all those good things to happen, we still need your support. We need your GPUs. And we actually running out of time. The prompt is keeps telling me that we already, the.
Speaking of GPUs, I brought some GPUs.
Yes. Yes.
If I didn't bring GPUs, I was afraid that I would not be welcomed back to my own school.
Oh my.
And so Harry and I are going to do a lucky draw, and we're going to do it quickly. All right.
GPUs.
我们的 lucky draw 在哪里？
Lucky draw.
你们在哪里？
我们系主任等
我的朋友，
等着。
来，OK， Okay, I brought 10 very, very powerful GPUs. Okay, you read,
I read.
I draw.
The number is 343. Did you have your number in your tickets? No. Please identify yourself. 343.
Lucky
And then,
students,
come
please
on
come
down.
to stage.
下来。
Yeah. Okay. Second number 058.
我给你3。
Third one. Please identify yourself coming up here. 351. 190. We don't have any winners.
Are we calling numbers from the right audience?
If we don't have you come up, the department head of computer science will collect them all. I don't want this to happen. I want it.
So we can advance science. Okay, here we go.
014.
来。
014.
What's your number? Last 3 digits. Yeah.
Just come here. Come here.
We got a 1.
Yeah.
117. Yeah, please come up. Yeah. 329.
我就几个了。
9个了啊。259. Please come up. 上来吧。Please come up. If you, let me read one more time. 117, 014, 190, 351, 058, 343, 329, 249. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Please come. Yeah. Just come. Yeah. I need to verify. Whoa! Oh my goodness, Jensen, you are too generous. Oh my goodness. 那下。罗教授。 Congratulations. I need to see your number. Oh yes. You do want to take a picture. Take a picture. Here we go.
Stand over here.
Yeah. What's your next? What's your number? 14. Yes, 014. Okay. Yes. You stay here. Take a photo.
I trust he verified.
Yes.
Come here.
What's your number?
Take photo.
Oh, you got 2? Oh, first one, 343. Yes.
How come you have 2?
No. They are
这
one.
是4060嘛？
Yeah. Get
现
there.
在可以啊。
Take a picture. 一道好。329. Yes. 拿一个。你也弄到一个啊 ？351. Yes. 351. Yeah. Okay.
right.
拿一个。你多少号 ？What's your number? 114. Yeah.
Come here.
哦，你这运气很好，啊！
啊
？259啊，259有没有？Yeah. 117. Yes. Go ahead. 因为到那边一起照。What's your number? 058. 058. Yes. Okay. 还有一个嘛？
还有一个。哇，10个。
So we need to draw one more.
Yeah. Don't need to draw. Give it to the computer science department, please. Yeah, come on.
Can I just use the the power vested in me.
Yeah.
Okay. Professor Zhou, whatever number you have, I'll just read it. Yeah. Thank you, Jesus. Great. Fantastic. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Take a photo.
Harry, where's Harry?
No. All right. Okay. All right. 好。
Okay. Okay, 100% CUDA compatible.
100% CUDA compatible. I read that. Okay,
Thank you.
great. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So Jensen, one more.
Jensen, one moment.
Jensen, we have
One
more gifts. You have more gifts. All right. 你们可以下去
There's a gift
你们可以下去了
for
You
you.
guys can go down.
Yeah,
More gifts are coming.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way. Oh
Wow.
my.
This is a gift for
Oh my
Harry,
goodness. Oh my goodness.
So Harry has been a hero of mine for a very long time. Very long time. As you know, as you heard me say earlier, he's one of the consequential computer scientists of our time. And because of his leadership, because of his mentorship, he raised many generations of amazing artificial intelligence researchers around the world. And so when he called me about this great honor, I was deeply honored, and I'm really happy to be an alum of your university, your great university. But I also wanted to come here just to spend time with Harry, and so I brought him a gift.
Oh my goodness.
This is a photograph, aerial photograph of NVIDIA.
Oh.
And
亦可帮一下的忙。你幫手佢住呢度，呢位。
So when Harry comes to see me, he comes to that building.
I went to visit Jensen in July just to make sure he's coming today.
I'm always going to. Harry, thank you for everything you've done for us and for the industry.
Thank you so much. You know, it's quite
you're a hero.
Really an honor. And we're not done yet. Yeah. So did you guys like the leather jacket?
Oh. I wear the one too.
Okay.
But
here's the question. Did you want the one? Wow.
I think this is going to be available at the student store.
Can you, Terence? Can you please bring up that leather jacket, the third piece?
on my
No.
side. On my side.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not.
I'm the model.
Okay. He's the model.
I'm the model.
So, thanks to our great friends from Haining, Zhejiang, my good friend Mark, who brought here, hand carried yesterday here. Mark, thank you. So, Haining, you may not know, actually produced 90% of leather jackets for the world. So we made one for Jensen, but I have to perform, so I also took one. We got the third piece. Jensen very generously signed and donated to hkust Foundation. Albert, for you. So we will auction. We will auction very soon, Albert, right, at the annual event. And in the name of Dr. Jensen Huang, donate to the hkust Foundation. Albert.
I will still be the model by the time.
All right.
Very good, huh?
So do we have more gifts? Or do we not? We have more gifts?
I will invite our president, Nancy Yip, come to actually give a souvenir to Jensen.
Okay.
So it's wonderful.
It's too much
Yeah,
fun.
too much.
Fun,
They're
yeah.
more coming.
Yeah. Well, we love our alum. Especially those alum who actually donate to the university.
Okay. No problem. 为什么我们的 logo 是火鸡啊？
Why? Oh, the president can explain.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I heard the story already.
Yeah, can we present this to Jensen?
Yeah.
If you want to explain, okay, sure.
Okay, sure.
People, yeah.
Here is AI generated image for this too, but very unfortunately, I didn't realize the Henry also wear leather jet. So that's a hallucination, right?
Hallucination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, anyway,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
We'll take a photo.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the incredible honor. I'm a
Thank
very
you.
proud alum.
Thank you.
Jensen,
Thank you
we
very
look
much.
forward to your coming back to UST, and we love you, Jensen.
Thank you. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.